What's up, guys? I hope that you enjoy the scenery. It's pretty good. I don't know, decent scenery. But today we're here to talk about something that's pretty well closely linked to my heart. I actually see the video in the reflection of the, there we go, thing, which is pretty cool. It allows me to make adjustments. So basically, we're going to talk about something pretty close to my heart, but something I've been thinking about for a while. It's been on my mind for a bit of time. Something that's always mattered to me and always been a part of my process when trying to achieve something in life, which is a bit of a different perspective. So, essentially, why you need hate to achieve your goals. Why you need to have a little bit of hate to get to where you want to get to. Now, this may not be for everybody. If you thrive very much on positive reinforcement and positive reasons to win at anything, then it may not be for you. But typically, if you don't, and the positive stuff and the positive thinking and the manifesting and all that stuff doesn't work for you, there's another route for you, which is to use hate, to use the darkness. Hence why we're outside, right? Use the darkness and to lean into the darkness, because there's nothing wrong with leaning into the darkness as long as you know why you're doing it, right? And some people can lean into that same darkness and get really depressed, get really sad, get really down about the things that they feel when they go into that place, and other people need to go in there to really bring out their best selves. So the darkness, the hate factor, right? Where these things put in together. So when I talk about the darkness, I talk about all your dark thoughts. I talk about the things you hate about yourself, things you don't like about who you are, the things people said about you, the things people told you couldn't do, everything, right? All those things, all that trauma, all those stories that you have built up across your life that have stopped you, or that people have told you will stop you from becoming the type of person you're supposed to be. Leaning into that and not away from it. Always get told you need to heal your trauma, but maybe you should just go into it. Now, where this often works is if you really have tried everything, and I wouldn't say it's a last resort, because I think for some people, honestly, this is just the best way they can learn. Now they can motivate themselves to move forward. But if you're the type of person who hasn't done anything, this really helps. Like if you really can't get yourself to do the things that you're supposed to do, this tends to help a lot, right? Leaning into that darkness, leaning into those negative thoughts, right? Whether it is a breakup, it is the things parents told you. So I'll give you some examples. In my case, right? I'd say the biggest example I have of this, that I was thinking about originally when making this video, that has been with me for years and has never left, and has played a probably big role maybe into why I'm into bodybuilding. But when I was young, I kept trying to lose weight. I really grew up really fat. I got bullied a lot for it. I really got made to feel quite bad about it. And obviously nowadays they'd say that's fat shaming and that's bullying. Obviously this is bullying. It's still bullying. Bullying is bullying, right? Can't get away from that. But they would say that it's horrible, and today that's not really a thing. People don't do the fat shaming thing as much. I don't know. I don't think so. My nephew's in grade 10 this year. He has not really mentioned to me that it's a thing. It doesn't seem to be a thing. He doesn't have the issue, so maybe he doesn't really experience it. But I grew up really fat, and in my particular case, I got fat shamed quite intensely. I got told that I got made fun of all the time, and I was fat in a very uncomfortable way. I was a boy who looked very much like a girl, which made me feel very insecure as a kid. So I got bullied a lot for it. I had some good friends that helped along the way, but that bullying up to this day, definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me. Now that doesn't have to be the same for everybody. You don't all have to view it the same way. You don't all have to view bullying as a good thing if you don't want to. But in my case, in my personal experience, I definitely do not wish to be born in an era where that would not be allowed, because that would have kept me the same, and I would have never been gifted that pain and darkness and hatred for certain things. A bug just flew on me. I would never been gifted those things. I would never been gifted certain difficulties and trauma that I needed to change later on. So I kept trying to lose weight. I kept trying to change my body, and it wouldn't work. I kept knocking it, kept tried everything. I did it in grade 8. My sister helped me, and we went for runs and tried all these different sorts of things. It worked, but it didn't stick. It didn't give me what I wanted. It didn't look the way I wanted. It didn't stick. That's grade 8. I kept going. I used to dance, so then I could do all different types of things with my body, but I still was fat. I still didn't like the way I looked when I looked in the mirror. That was the reality of the situation. So finally, I'm in grade 11, and a friend of mine helps me out with some training program and tells me a little bit about training and starts to tell me that you can learn how to do this and you can learn how to train. So I said, okay, fine, I'm gonna do it, right? So I tried crazy stuff. I'd go to gym in the morning, on the holidays especially. I'd go to gym. I'd run to gym, I'd train, I'd finish training, I'd walk back home. So that's basically 5Ks in total together. About 5Ks in total, 4 to 5Ks in total. And then obviously the training session on top of that. Right, sometimes I'd be hungry, I'd have my little Rice Krispies in my bag, little Kellogg's, and I'd go and I'd sit on the side and I'd eat them on the side of the road or at the gym and eat my Kellogg's while I wait, get some energy, and then continue going back home. And that was a lot of my experience. But what caused that? Where did the energy come for that? Right? How did I make the switch from being this person who could not build any consistency, who could not get it right, and then click, it changed? It wasn't because, and I'd been into self-development for some time at that point, maybe a year or 2. And it wasn't that necessarily that got me there. It wasn't seeing, these motivational guys talk about how to do it. It was, I looked in the mirror one day and I was honest with myself. And I just looked at myself and I said, I hate what I see. Not I dislike it, not I want to change. I looked at myself and I said, I hate this image. I hate what I'm seeing right now. I hate the way I look. And then that became the drive. That was what made me consistent. That's when I started training, and I trained since 2017, before joining the gym. Around 2016, I had some weights at home and started training there. But around 2016, 2017, that period of time was a big shift. And from then on, I never stopped. Up until now, where we are in 2024, I never stopped. And what made the big difference, that made me finally get consistent. And in the beginning, that's not what kept me going. Because you can't always keep running on that. And some people do still use some of that negative energy, and you need to dip into some negative energy once in a while. You need to be able to use it, be able to manipulate it to work for you. But what got me started was hating where I was. And then it happened again with money and finances. I was in real estate and I was working fully commission. And my older brothers had sold land, and so basically some other form of property, right, freestanding land, and they'd also worked fully commission-based jobs. And I remember talking to my older brother about it. And we talked, and I told him how frustrated I was and how horrible it was and everything. But he said, keep being frustrated until you're not. And that's not a simple sentence. Just keep being frustrated until you're not. Keep allowing that frustration to get to you, because you need to know that it's not okay to be like this. Because when you don't care, you don't feel pain. You're not in pain of your situation when you don't care about it, when you don't want to make a change. But when you do want to make a change, it's a bit different. When you want to make a change, you tend to find that you're into this kind of this space where you're searching for different reasons why you're going to continue. And oftentimes that comes deeply from a frustration and dissatisfaction with what you have right now. I just didn't like my money situation. I couldn't do a lot of things. I couldn't pay for bodybuilding stuff. I had no consistency. I did my first show with that real estate job when I became much better at it. I was a lot better. I was really making much more money, but it wasn't what I wanted. And even now, I don't have what I really want right now. I don't have it yet, and it's gonna come. But I still need to remain frustrated enough to make me want to move forward when the nice, happy things don't work, And there's other forms of motivation as well, right? I look at my girlfriend sometimes and I think, wow, I want to work hard to give you more. I look at my nephew. I want to work hard so I can spend more time with you. I can give you more. I look at my younger brother. I think the same thing. I look at my mother. I think the same thing. So there's a lot lighter forms that are still more positive, beautiful forms of ways to get yourself to do things. But that's not what this is about. This is about the teacher that told you that you're not good enough as a kid, right? This is for me about the school that put me in like the special class where I had to learn how to cut because I didn't know what the hell was going on. That's motivation for me now, right? Being told that I was not smart in school multiple times, it didn't do what people thought it would do to me. See, I went to school and they put me in the bridging class for many years. The school told my mom that I have learning disabilities, that I'm incapable of of learning properly. And my mom's like, no, you guys are crazy. I'm taking my kid out to school. There's better schools that'll be able to assess that this isn't the case, right? So she believed that, and that's a very important belief, right? It helped with self-esteem. She took me out to school, and I went to new school, and I found that wasn't really the case, and I was able to do well. But what that actually did for me is affirm something I always knew. As a kid, I always hated school. I would run away from my parents. So every morning, my dad's early riser, 5 a.m. But you see this right here? This ain't me, bro. My dad would wake up in the morning, 4:30, 5 a.m., blah, 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 do his day, and then come wake us up for the day. I would wake up early, and I would run we have a huge garden at my parents' house. So I'd run into the garden and hide until the time for school passed. Because I hated school so much. Because I hated learning. I didn't like the whole school system. I got bullied. I got treated poorly by teachers. I remember in grade 2, some teacher took my head and just smacked it up against the desk. So I didn't like school. But I always knew it wasn't for me when I was young. I knew there was something that wasn't right about it for me. And I just knew it. I could feel it. In my entire life, I could feel it. And the more that the school system tried to push me out and tell me I wasn't good at it, the more it affirmed that this is not my game to play. I have other things that I'm going to play. There are other games that you can win at, and that's not my game. And I learned that very early. I learned that at a very early age. So I needed that darkness. I needed that negative energy to help me affirm more what I knew about myself, to not try to be someone I wasn't. So don't be scared when you feel really at the gym and you feel those negative thoughts, right? I've been lifting and I've had a tear come out because the frustration's releasing into the work, into the thing that I'm doing, right? The distaste for where things are, my dissatisfaction for how something went, all the pain I felt is being channeled into something positive to make me even better. Now, is inner work important? Yeah, go do some inner work. Is it important to go heal that stuff? Of course, go heal the trauma. But that doesn't mean that you can't use it. Everyone's wired different, and not everyone's going to be able to resonate with being able to do this. But there will be times when you can't find reasons to keep going, or you can't find a reason to start. And all you keep doing is trying to stop, but never finally getting into the flow of it, never getting up and making that decision and sticking to it. And the thing that makes the difference between when you stick a lot of the times and when you don't stick is the reason why you're doing it. And unfortunately or fortunately, negative reasons are always stronger than positive ones, because you tend to remember the negative more. So our brains are wired to pick up negative things a lot more than positive, right? Most of the time. So the negative reason will be a really good way to first pull you, right? If you read, what book is it? I think it's Power versus Force. In Power versus Force, they have a list. And the list goes on to explain multiple different emotions and how those emotions affect your state of power. And from above apathy, you go into anger. And the reason that is because to get out of apathy, even if anger isn't the perfect state of emotion, because if the perfect state of emotion to perform is here, and you're over here, like I was, then you need to figure out how to get here before you can start looking there. So if you're trying to figure out how to get there, then you need a bit of anger. And sometimes you're here for some days and then you're here, but then there's times when you drop down back to base, back to apathy. And when you hit that point, you need a little bit of anger to get you going. You need a little bit of the darkness that you've been avoiding in the back of your mind, the things that people told you you can't do, and the way you felt, the worst you ever felt. And you need to take that out and not be scared of it. It's part of you, the same way the good, nice, beautiful, positive parts are part of you. So pull the anger, pull the darkness out of yourself when you need it. And don't be scared to hate where you are, to love where you're going.